One. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube. I am your host, Doug Engler. Joining me, as always, in the co-host seat is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling.
Who is awake?
And as a reminder, Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by HomeCircleMedia.com for the latest and greatest in anime gear. Everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out HomeCircleMedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX. For all of your artwork, cosplay, photography, and commission needs, be sure to look up Casey Fox on Facebook and Instagram. We're also brought to you tonight by Darren.
Yes, if you're in the Raleigh-Durham area and you need lawn service or landscaping this fall cleanups are in full swing, give me a call or look me up on my Facebook. That's facebook.com/triple S lawns.
Tonight, we are honored. We have an amazing guest with us. You've heard us interview a lot of artists. We've talked to a lot of vendors, people who are the mainstays at the conventions. After talking with our good friend Jay Mooers, he had the idea of why not bring on the helpers, the unsung heroes behind the scenes that help set up, break down, and deal with the customers while the artists are either focusing on commissions away from the table, things of that nature. So we are honored to bring on a very good friend of ours. This lovely young lady is someone who we love more than we can express. And we're excited to have Denise Mooers joining us tonight.
Hello, thank you.
And Denise, it is so great to finally see you and chat with you after a few years away because of everything going on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. It has been way too long.
And I apologize. The wife is on break, so she's messaging me, so I had to finish up a conversation there real quick. So professional, I know.
Tell her go back to work. Get back to work.
And, for the people out there who may not have been to a convention that you've been to with Jay, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Oh, me?
Yes,
Well, I've been following Jay around for 8 years. We've been doing this now. I think about 8-9 years. I am not any type of artist. I'm not crafty or artsy at all. I leave all that talent stuff to him. But I do kind of help him manage things a bit. I work full time, as a lot of people do. Very boring. And I'm also a real estate agent. So I technically have 2 full-time jobs, and then I manage him. So that managing Jay in itself is very difficult, I have to say. But no, there's really not much about me. I'm a very simple person. I just I met Jay on a cruise, and he he showed me some of his work, and I just said to him one day, "You are going to be famous, my friend." And that was it. That was the start of a beautiful relationship. And now that we've talked him into doing the conventions and getting himself more into the work, I'm behind him, pushing him and helping him. And it's fun, it brings us closer together. We've met a lot of beautiful people like Doug and Leanne, and a lot of our other con family. So that's pretty much it.
And on the bright side, you only have to try to manage Jay. 2 weeks ago, we had to try to wrangle in Jay and Rusty.
Oh no! Oh God, that in itself is I feel for you, my friends. Rusty is a very large personality. He's a lot of fun. I love him.
Oh yeah.
And when him and Jay get going, forget it.
And It was fun because we ended up having the little caption wars where, like, you have Denise Mooers in there that you can change that throughout the show. So if you go back and watch that video, we start having fun. I think Rusty
Oh
was the first
gosh.
one to change things, and
Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Insane.
and it was a lot of fun. And of course, it was great seeing Jay at Saratoga Comic Con last weekend. And sadly, you were missed. I know a lot of people had asked where you if you had been there or not. And so
Yeah, no, I had to miss this one. My mom was here. Actually, I've missed quite a few this year. I only got to go to one, I believe, this year, which was unfortunate due to a lot of things going on, COVID, schedules, my mom visiting, um, different things like that. So I did kind of miss it last year. Of course, there was pretty much nothing, and then you realize you've got this whole family that you haven't seen, and it's it's sad, it's just sad. I missed everybody. I really did. And it's very difficult for me to put myself out there to begin with. But I really did. You don't realize what you have until you don't have it anymore.
oh
Like
yeah,
kind of that old saying, you don't know what you have until it's gone. Same with seeing people and that kind of thing. You don't realize that the family and friends that you don't get to see on a regular basis is it takes a lot out of you.
oh definitely. And Darren, I know that for you and me, without the conventions, it's been tough, especially like being away from the conventions has been tough enough. And like you're saying, you don't realize how much you enjoy and need that stuff in your life from a personal standpoint of seeing friends and the con family, as we talk about. Even show wise, we had a very tough time scheduling guests every week because we didn't have the conventions to go out to meet new cosplayers, new artists, to get a chance to meet people like you and Jay. And just random conversation starting has led to some amazing friendships.
Hmm. Which is why you had to dig the bottom of the barrel to get me today.
No, no, that is far from true. And you know, it's fun to know that the conventions are coming back, albeit slowly. Obviously, attendance is not where it has been. Although Saratoga Comic Con was slamming even on a Sunday, which I was really happy to see that it was doing really well. A lot of cosplayers, a lot of. I wish I could have been there for the weekend. I wish we could have had a table for the show and stuff. Unfortunately, as things were going, we weren't able to go around. Um, we did make 3 cons this year since they started coming back. Kineticon was at best half capacity from years past. AAC was maybe a third capacity from what I'm used to seeing.
It's
So,
sad. Yeah, it's really sad. Especially since when we started, it was kind of on its downturn. And then we've actually seen in the past 8 years or so the upswing of it and the boom kind of, things coming back to comics and cosplay. And it kind of fell out for a while, and now it's back and it's stronger than ever. And then all of a sudden COVID, and boom, we're back to nothing again. It's sad to see that. So it's a good way of people expressing themselves, where they don't normally get to express themselves. So it was sad to see
oh yeah,
last year, and it's sad to see the low numbers going into this year. And I wish I was at Saratoga because, from what I hear from Jason, my nephew took my place as the booth babe um, in Saratoga. So, but and that was the first time he had been. But they were overwhelmed, and that was good. I was happy to hear that it was a good show.
I mean, he didn't look as good in a dress as you do, but he did his best.
Yeah. I don't know. He's kind of cute. I don't know. I tend to disagree.
And Darren, what has been your feeling about the cons coming back? I know I've told you about low numbers and things like that. Do you think that the cons coming back is a good thing? And in a way, I kind of, with the conventions now slowly coming back, I kind of compare it to us having just recently made the jump from Blog Talk to YouTube. After 6 years on one platform, jumping to a new one, we have to rebuild from scratch. It feels like. Is that how you feel the conventions need to do as well?
Kind of. When it comes to the conventions coming back, I'm more or less ready for everything to, I don't know really how to phrase it. I'm just ready to see everything return to normal. I'm a little bit more
Let's get this
late.
party started.
What was that?
Let's get the party
Let's get
started.
this party started.
Pretty much. Everyone's been shut in for way too long. It's time to start getting out again, and myself included. These past 2 years outside of conventions, I really have done nothing but work my life away. Granted, I was never the social person whenever I went to conventions. Like I could be. I rarely ever interacted with many groups for the fact I was almost always by myself because every now and then I get to go with friends, but they always had their own agenda, and of course we would always get separated every now and then. And I'm just not a very socially active person.
Until we get together for a convention, and especially if Jane and Denise are there, Darren, you're screwed.
Yeah, I know.
We're gonna make you have fun and just put you out there.
You know what's good about that though? The conventions are there. That is a place where people who are not normally socially active people can be, because I think there's it's a no judgment zone, right? So you can walk around by yourself and not talk to anybody, and nobody would be like, hey, look at that guy just walking around by himself. Like, no, because it's such a large variety of people in it, and it's a good place to people to go, and they can either blend in or stick out however they want to choose to,
hmm
so
I've
I
I've always I've always said it's amazing what you can do at a convention, um, and everyone just joins in for the most part.
mhm. Yeah. It's like I am I a lot of people think that I am really a social butterfly and out there and everything, but I'm really an introvert. And it's gotten worse since COVID. I am agoraphobic. I don't like to go out. I don't like to do things. I don't like to leave my house. And it's very difficult for me to go to these conventions. I know I have to go. I need to support my husband. I want to support my husband. I want to be there. He needs the help. It's that kind of thing. But I have to fight that. I have to fight myself to get there. But once I get there and I see my friends, my con family, it's like boom, I bloom. It's like now I understand what these conventions do for people, just because I know what it does for me. And then we go and I have a great time and we leave, and Jay always says to me, see, you had a great time, why were you worried? So it's good in that respect, and I think a lot of people need to get back to that.
It's
They're
healing.
It is healing. It is healing. And for the past 2 years that they're just sitting in their house, it's just weighing on people. I think it's starting to weigh on people. And we really need to get back out there again. We really do.
Oh, definitely. And again, I thank you so much for joining us. I know at first you were a little confused by the idea that your husband had threw out there, But I'm like, hey, do you want to come on and talk about booth babes? And you're like, wait, what? And then Jay explained it, and you're like, oh, that makes sense now.
Now I get it. Yes, now I get it. Yes.
And we joke about the booth babe terminology, but that goes to the helpers of tables of artists or vendors, basically the people who are there to support the main person, especially in the artists world, where a lot of times the artists may be working on a commission. They cannot always have their head up looking to see who might be walking by the table or coming to the table, so they rely on spouses, loved ones, friends to help them, to be their eyes, ears, and salesmen sometimes. I know there are many artists out there who have a hard time selling themselves. My wife is included in that. She has a hard time talking to people and promoting her work, which is why I'm there when we have the table, so I can help be like, come take a look, open the books, check stuff out. If you have questions, let us know. And she might have a commission, so she'll be off to the side, head down, working on a commission, and she needs somebody there to help keep an eye on the table and interact with people. And what has that been like for you, Denise, to be the table helper or quote unquote booth babe? And you're a better looking booth babe than I am. So.
Oh, I don't think so, but thanks. Yeah, booth babe, funny, but we imagine it's anybody, like you said. It's just a term that started like many years ago, I think, and then it pertains to everybody. Man, woman, no gender, it doesn't matter. It's just we're all booth babes. My nephew, again, like I said, was booth babe this past week, this past at Saratoga. But yes, it at first. So at first I was there, and one of his friends, Christy, was there from the beginning, because Jay, like Leanne, has a very difficult time selling himself. He is a fantastic artist, a wonderful person, but at first could not see it. We had to help that vision, and so we were there to help him sell himself. Like, you've got to do this, like, you've got to say this, you've got to talk about it, you've got to talk about your stuff, and he's become more comfortable with it. So now he's better at selling himself and his wares, if you will. But so I'm more there in the background now, where I was there in the forefront with him, like trying to push him along. Now I'm kind of in the background, and I let him flourish, let him do his thing and talk to people. But so I'm off on the side. Now this person's already interested. So now I'm taking that sale, or just answering questions, or that sort of thing, while he can sell himself. And it's this year, again, it's been difficult because I haven't been to a lot of the conventions with him, and we've seen the other side of it, or he's more seen the other side of it, where if you're alone, you kind of miss out on some of that. You don't get to talk to as many people and explain your vision to them as much. So it is very important to have somebody, these artists, it's very important for them to have somebody with them to help them get that vision out there. Twice the people you get to talk to, and then again, it also gives them breaks. That's another thing that's very, very difficult, is you see a lot of artists alone at these conventions, and it's very difficult. They can't even get away from their table to take a break. They can't get something to eat. They can't, go to the bathroom even, they can't leave, so it's difficult. So I'm glad to be able to help him. I'm glad to be able to push him. I'm glad to be able to be there so that he can take a break when he needs a break, helps me come out of my shell too, because like I said, I'm not one to, I seem like I'm one to like talk to people, but I'm really not.
You get to turn into salesman Denise at the cons,
Yes.
as opposed to, I just want to stay home and not do anything.
Right. Which is actually good for me. It's good for everybody. We need to get out of our comfort zone. We need to do things that we're not comfortable with. It's healthy. So
Exactly. That's why Darren needs to cosplay as Nico.
No, I prefer to cosplay as the one on the profile that's up.
Okay, if you're gonna do Love Live, why not Kotori? Would you cosplay as her?
No,
Kotori.
I would cosplay as Sheeta before that.
Kotori was the figure of choice for tonight's show. She is Leanne's favorite from the Love Live franchise. Just like I know Denise is one of Leanne's favorite from the convention world.
she's my favorite too.
In fact, I think she still owns you after Vermont Comic Con that one year.
That's very true.
She
Yes.
she she was
She
the
won,
last bidder.
she won me fair and square. Yes, that's true. I don't think anybody's outbid her since, so I am still technically hers.
And we talk about the Khan family, and I think a lot of times people who don't understand the vending side of stuff like we do, the artist side, behind the scenes, the artists will build a camaraderie. The more you vend, the more you are sitting beside people. You're going to be beside them for many hours throughout the weekend. A 1 day con could be 5-6 hours. Anime Boston, you're in that artist alley for 30 hours throughout the weekend. So you get to know your neighbors pretty good typically between setup, and that's just open hours of people walking through. That doesn't count the setup and the breakdown and stuff like that. And so you build these friendships with fellow artists because you understand each other. You may have different points of view, different art styles. Some people may be doing acrylic paints for one art, one might be digital, one might be sketches, things of that nature, but you all have a mutual respect because you're all creators and you appreciate the work that the other creators are putting in. And I know, Denise, like, what always comes to my mind when I think of how important Khan family is was, I think it was Vermont Comic Con year 4, where I, 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 in the same row, I know it was us, Karen Gosselin, HB Comics, Michaela Cron's voice actor was at the end of the row with where the guests were, but we weren't far from them. I think you guys were at the other end of the convention by Johnny C's table as well, because you were one of the headlining guests with Rusty and everybody. And you show up, and it just turns into a big hug fest before the doors even open. We're like, I missed you.
Yep. Yeah. That's every convention. You seek out your family before anything, even you want to know where everybody is before anything ever even opens, anything starts, and then you seek out new people, and you embrace new people, hopefully, but yet we talk about that often, like, oh my gosh, our family grew immensely in this past 8 or 9 years, and it's people that are so deep in our heart. Like, it's not even, you don't see these people all the time, but you don't consider them acquaintances either. Like, we truly love you. You know what I mean? Like, we would do anything for you guys. We know you do anything for us, and anybody else in the family, Johnny C, Rusty, and we have, we've helped Rusty out. Rusty's helped us out. You guys, you've come here, several times, and you know, I've held Evie, you know, put her to
You know,
sleep, walked her around. It's amazing, when you think about it, what these conventions have done for people. It's amazing.
and a lot of good conversation going on in the chat room. Trisha Popejoy, who's a friend of mine who started listening to the show, was asking about making custom orders. She also was curious about the sugar skulls that Jay was talking about that you make.
Oh, geez, I haven't done those in like forever. I make paper mache sugar skulls, and it started out, I was making them um, out of music, um, what was it? It was music notes. It was sheet music that I had found at a yard sale, that at an estate sale, that this man was actually writing himself, and it was like really really old, and it was all decrepit, and there really wasn't much you could do with that. And I had these paper mache skulls, and I started like decomposing the skulls, and they ended up being so beautiful. And then I started um decorating them with different things, flowers and jewels and that sort of thing. And the first time that I sold them, we went to Rhode Island Comic Con. It was one of the first times that we had been at Rhode Island Comic Con, and I think I only had like 5 with me, and they all sold before the convention opened. Like everybody was going by, like, oh my god, those are amazing, and they all sold before it opened. And then I just made a few for a couple of the other conventions, but I really haven't. I haven't had much time to do any in a long time. I don't even know that I still have any of the skulls left, but it is something that I think I'm going to start getting into again, because Jason's always busy. He's always out in the studio. So I think I'm going to get back into it. So
I think you should.
yeah,
I
more
would
to
love to
come on
see.
that.
I would love to see that. I mean, I am trying to find some other venues to keep mind busy, because obviously when you're don't have much going on, your mind can wander, and that leads
Mhm.
to sometimes creative, sometimes terrible things. So I think that's something that could help us with. Like, I'm looking at getting back into building puzzles again. Might look into getting back into drawing. When I was in school, I used to draw like race cars, stuff like that,
Oh, that's
but
cool.
never really was much of, never considered myself anything like an artist. Nothing like Jay or Leanne put out there at all. But
Mhm.
maybe I'll start looking into that. Um, I'll try to find a good picture of Darren and put him in some cosplays.
Have you ever seen the sugar skulls that I made? We
I
should find.
don't.
We
I
gotta find
don't
some
think I've seen
pictures.
one.
Yeah,
I
we.
don't think I've seen him.
It just I like the whole idea of the sugar skulls. I like the whole idea of actually I have skulls on my shirt. You can't really tell, but um I wear them a lot at conventions. I wear skulls a lot to the conventions and stuff, and um I just think it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Death scares me, so to find something that feel is beautiful in death is um it's something that I hold on to. It's something that I hold dear. So I probably should start making them again. I don't know. I kind of fell out for a while. Um,
And the sugar skulls are a really fascinating thing in and of themselves. I don't remember the exact origin, but I know, like, especially around Halloween time, fall time, you see them come out a lot. I know that there was a Disney movie that had come out. I forget the name of it.
Coco, Coco.
Yes, Coco
Yeah,
has a lot of sugar skulls in there, and it's a lot of living and remembering those who have passed, and it's a
yeah,
beautiful way of combining um, life with death, and being able to accept and you know remembering and honoring those who lived before you.
yes, yeah. Day of the Dead, Dias de Muertos, I believe. And if I
Dia de los Dia
Day
de
of the-
los Muertos,
yes,
and the skulls are calaveras.
yes, and they're yeah, and it's to uh like celebrate the 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 people who have passed. And I, I always thought it was November 1st, but I've read it's November 1st through the 3rd, I believe, or when they actually celebrate.
I think
Um,
it is a multi-day
yeah,
event.
yeah, it's just beautiful. The things that they do, it's Mexican, and the things that they do with the Mexican people do, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I
and,
obviously they're not conventional. They
and it's tough to see them, but Jay sent me a picture of them.
Yeah, that's one batch that I had made. That I believe that was the first batch that I had made. I did a lot of we're very into steampunk, so I did a lot of steampunk style. The last batch that I made was not as well received. It was more because we were in the convention, the comic book um, scene. I decompose them with comic books, pieces of old comics, and yeah, there. Oh, I think that there's one there that has comic book, but and then I had a lot of different renditions of the comic books, but I think people were more into the ones that were made with the music. You know, it's more Renaissance, or it fits with a lot more, I believe, the music than the comic books too. So I got to go back to that somehow.
I'm sure you will find your way back into it. And we want to take time to say hello to everybody in the chat room. Hello to Dean Ross, who's popped in. He has to come support friends as well. Dean is a fantastic cosplayer. He's joined us in the past when we were over on the Block Talk Radio, part of the Montreal X-Men group, which at some point we need to get you guys all on here
Hmm.
because we love you guys. You got the whole crew is awesome. And I mean that getting to conventions, going back to the convention side of things, we talked about how healing it is for a lot of people, and the friendships that you can make over time. And I know, Darren, you said that a lot of times at conventions you end up being the social, you kind of keep to yourself a bit, but we want to I want to try to help you get out there and not be afraid to mix with new people and stuff, because you never know what's going to happen. I did find my wife at an anime con.
Very true.
And at least at an anime con, you already know you have something in common with the people there.
True.
And maybe you can find somebody cosplaying as your beloved Zenobia.
Unfortunately, the chances of me finding someone cosplayed as Zenobia, not Zenobia, Rias and Akano are a lot higher for the fact. But I think Rias is really the only DXD cosplay I've ever seen in person, and that's like few and far between.
True.
But she's literally the face of waifu tier characters now, so it kind of makes sense.
And talking about cosplay, I know, Denise, from conventions, you get to see, when you sit behind the table, you get to see a lot of cosplayers and stuff go by. What is it like for you as the table helper when you're sitting there and you're seeing all these cosplayers go by? Have you ever wanted to run out to get a photo from somebody?
Oh yeah, and have I have, or you tell them, "Oh, stop! Can we get a photo?" Absolutely. I have a lot of photos. Usually it's a Jason Voorhees because that's my man. Um, but we've seen some beautiful. Oh my gosh, Saratoga. Probably 3 years back or 4 years back, there was a family going back to the Sugar Skulls. There was a family, a mom, a dad, and I think a little girl dressed in full like Day of the Dead um garb, and oh my gosh, were they breathtaking. They were absolutely breathtaking. And the mom said, so of course we had to stop and talk and take photos of them. And it's not something that you normally see at a convention, but this was a convention in November, which was when Saratoga usually is. And so they had gone to a costume party and for Halloween, and they won like first place at this big huge costume thing that they had gone to for their town. And so they chose to wear this to the convention, and it was just amazing. But to see all of the work that goes into some of these costumes, oh my gosh, it's just the time and the effort that's put in. Not even so, if you think about not even just going to the conventions, but um the effort that the people put into making their costumes all year long just to show them off at these conventions. It's again, I say that I'm sure it helps a lot of people out of their shells, to say it's per se, it's amazing. It's just amazing.
Oh, it is. And like you said, a ton of work goes in behind the scenes that a lot of us don't know or don't understand. I
Mhm.
know when Jay was joining us a couple weeks ago, he talked about uh, trying his hand at cosplaying and vending, which can be very difficult to kind of master both.
Yeah, yeah. Gambit. Is that yeah? Which is not an easy costume to begin with, and very sweaty. Uh, and I was not with him at that convention. No, when you did one with me and one without me, I think. Was I with you when you did Gambit? You did one Gambit without me, which was hard. Yeah. It is. It's so you're trying to be the character and then vend and then try and sell yourself at the same time. It was very difficult. Whereas like for Leanne, for instance, it's a little bit easier with the anime. If she's an anime character, at least she's selling what she is, and I think it might be a little bit easier and but uh it's yeah, it's something that you have to, and again, you definitely need somebody else there with you to help you, because it's difficult to do all of that all at the same time. So we don't usually dress up all too much. It's just we found that it gets a bit much. I've dressed up on occasion, but never in full on cosplay.
Oh yeah,
I also think I'm too old for it. So
you're not too old. Darren, will you tell her you are never too old to fully cosplay?
Yes, I mean, look at all the older men cosplaying the older men from anime.
yeah, I guess I have to find the right character. I don't know.
About to say, never, not necessarily the right character. Cosplay whoever the heck you want. Like you said, it's a convention. It's not really a judgment zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to post a picture because last week we didn't really talk much about Saratoga Comic Con and my experience there, because we had Giovanni Cruz on the show with us and Rachel Mather, which big thank you to both of those wonderful women for joining us last week. It was fun talking with them. But my favorite cosplay that I saw from the weekend was a Judy Hopps cosplayer. Like
Oh, I
this
love
was an absolutely fantastic cosplay. Very sweet young lady who we stopped. We had a decently long conversation, and just heard back from her via email, and she is interested about coming on the show. But I wanted to put some love out to the Saratoga Comic Con cosplayer. God, that's a tongue twister. And I only got a couple of photos of cosplayers because I was there maybe 2 hours, and of that I, the vendors that I knew that were going to be there were Jay and Chelsea Von Chastity, who we hadn't seen in years. I didn't know Johnny C was going to be there. I didn't know the awesome couple was going to be there. I didn't know Delicious Chocolates was going to be there. So that made me like, and Jay was the main reason that I went because I haven't seen you guys in forever. And I know you said you might come, you might not, depending on what was going on with your mom in town
And it
for
was a
the holiday.
last minute thing. It was sad. I was so torn. I was so torn. But of course, my mom sticks in that good old mom guilt trip, you know? You don't know
So
if I'm gonna come back, Okay, ma, yeah.
you should have just brought her with you, but like, okay, we'll just
Oh,
go for a day.
oh my goodness. Yeah, we tried to bring her to we have a very small casino nearby, and I mean very small. And my mom used to love to go to the casino and bingo and all that stuff. And oh my gosh, we were there like an hour, and she's like, "Can we go home now?" Yeah, no, my mom, she's getting up there. She can't walk around. She's yeah.
I want to bring, like, my family had never been to a convention before my wedding.
Oh wow.
So
That must have been fun.
so telling my family and Leanne's family we're getting married, and we are doing it at a Comic-Con of all things. Um, you know, and her side is a very religious family. You should get married at a church. You should,
Mhm.
a lot of prim proper things like that. But we felt that wasn't us. We are the most comfortable around the Comic Cons and anime conventions. That's where our people are. That's where we feel like us the most. And that's, we were honored to have Rusty Gilligan perform our service. I don't know if we knew you very well at the time. I
No,
don't think we did, or
I
else
don't
you
think
would
we
have been
knew.
there.
I don't think we knew you at all. We
So
knew of the wedding that was happening, and that was it. And we met you after, and then we were like, "Oh my god, you guys were the ones that got married." Yes. So no, we didn't know you at all when you guys got married, but we knew the
of the
wedding.
wedding.
We knew of the wedding. And then afterwards it was like, "Oh my god, they were the ones that got married." Yes, that yeah. So
And it
we were
was
there, but we weren't there.
so it was a lot of fun, and it was one of the greatest moments of my life and one of the weirdest at the same time, because being up on stage, center of attention, and you know I've never been one to want to be center of attention for anything, which may sound weird, hosting and creating my own talk show. But I started this show to help me, like you said, break out of your comfort
Mhm,
zone. The
mhm.
nerves are there every week. You push through them. I've been told I have a radio voice. Like, on the show, I sound different than I am off air, and I had no clue.
Bizarre enough, when you said hello to me I was like, "Huh?" It's yes, it's true. Your voice is different on air.
Which and it's surprising, because I think, like, radio personalities may not realize they do it, or maybe many people have been trained to be like, "This is my on-air voice, and off-air I'm you just never know." And I've tried to just be me throughout this whole thing. It still amazes me to this day. We've been going 7.5 years, almost. April will be 8 years. Can you believe that, Darren?
Wow.
Nope. I can't believe it's been 8 years since I started off as an admin of a whole bunch of Facebook pages, and you happened to reach out to the one page that I eventually took over, and now still have access to, but don't do anything there.
And now you've gone from the random guy who got reached out to by an unknown podcast to now you co-host it.
I know, right?
And I'm sure, Denise, you never imagined, oh, do you want to be a guest on a podcast?
I'm like, "What? No."
You're like, why does he want to talk to me? Jay's the one that gets all the no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a nobody. But yeah, but I get the whole there's the whole backside to it. There's always a backside to everything. And um I'm always interested in knowing how other people do it as well, because it's a lot of work. So it's a lot of work. The setup, the breakdown. I whine and I cry and I fight constantly.
And Bryce in chat said that was an awesome con. Fun fact: Bryce was our photographer. He's he's been a friend of mine since I met him when I was with my ex-wife living in the Syracuse area. We used to work together.
Wow.
And but yeah, and you know, Denise, from talking with me about the show and stuff, that we love to go into detail of, behind the scenes type of stuff. We want, the general people, the general fans who go to conventions, who enjoy anime or comics or art or things, to get a better understanding of why things are the way they are, why artists charge what they do for prints, why, how
Mhm.
voice actors got to where they're at and stuff. So when Jay approached me about the idea of talking about what it's like to be in our seats, we're not the artists. We get asked a million times a con, "Oh, are you the artist?"
Mm,
No,
mm-mm.
I can't draw a stick figure to save my butt, but she can help you. She's the artist, or in your case, he's the artist. He's the
Yeah.
talented one. I'm just here to
And,
make sure he doesn't screw up.
and what do you do? Nothing. I don't do any of this, like, and that's
What do
the
you do? I help set up and take
Right,
down.
right, right. And everybody will say the same thing, but you do because you're here and you're helping him. Yes, you're right. And it would have been a lot more difficult. Even as you know, Leanne, it's a lot more difficult when you're not there for her, and it's a lot more difficult for Jay when I'm not there. And it's really funny because when he started talking about this, I thought it was that you want to talk about the, and we gotta stop calling it booth babes, but whatever. I was going to start a booth babes for hire, for the artists that didn't have somebody to go with them, because I do see how difficult it is for people to be at these conventions without assistance. You know, it's not easy.
Exactly, and like, we hit all types of conventions as artists, as people who work the convention scene, as people who have tables. You may go to a 1 day high school Comic Con, and then the next week you're going to Rhode Island Comic Con, where you're seeing multiple thousands of people, and you don't know if you're going to be at the table for 4 hours, or like Anime Boston, 30 hours sitting at the table with the doors open. And two of those days are 12-hour days. When we vended, they were 12-hour days.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah.
first year we had a table, Leanne was in first trimester with Evie. So at one point, she left the table for 4 hours to lay down because she wasn't feeling good.
Hmm.
So sitting at a table for 4 hours, and thank God we have a lot of friends that attend these conventions, because we had people who would come by to check, how is she doing, how am I doing, do we need anything. We had people who were kind enough to make food runs for us,
Hmm. Right.
and a lot of conventions do that. A lot of conventions will have staffers who check in on artists, knowing, you know that it is difficult, especially if you're by yourself. They
Right.
may sit in so you can take a bathroom break and stuff, but it's still very difficult because it's so much easier and the time goes by faster when a con uh, and I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. The momentum or movement of a dealer's hall or artist alley kind of ebbs and flows. You see big groups go, and then it weans out to not much, and then there's another big group. But during those downtimes, if you're by yourself, that time may feel like hours have dragged by when it's only a few minutes. Where when you have somebody to talk to, or you're having fun, some way of entertaining yourself, the time flies by, and next thing you know, you're like, the con's over already.
Yeah.
And you can sometimes you see it where these people who are artists and they're by themselves, they don't have helpers. It makes you want to go over and talk to them and try to know help keep their spirits up, because if it's been you don't know if it's been a good con for them or they've only had 3 or 4 people stop and look at their stuff, and you want to make everybody feel welcome. I think as artists, we feel it's important to welcome other artists in. We're not competing against each other, because we all make it. And I say we, talking about artists as a whole, and I know you feel that way too, Denise. When you
Hmm.
say we, you mean Jay and I mean Leanne, and
Right. Right.
but we want to see other artists succeed.
Hmm.
Yes, we want to make money, but we don't want you like we love when people come and buy the artwork that our significant others have worked so hard for. But we also want people to go and appreciate the artwork of other talented artists out there as well.
Absolutely. Yes, and I played Pied Piper a lot at the beginning, before we met a lot, and that is how we met a lot of people. I would go out while he was sitting at the table, and I would meet people, and I would, network with them. Oh, I really like this. It complements my husband's style. This is what my husband does, or whatever. Or you do this. It's so different than what he does, or what have you, and just having those conversations, and then they would come back to the table and they would meet with Jason, and those conversations that I would go out and have because he was busy at the table. I would go out and have those. We've met a lot of really good people, and we've done a lot of really good networking, and he's got into a lot of good company, just by doing that, so those people that sit there and they're by themselves, like, I feel bad because they're missing out on so much more, but some people just don't have
They may not have the support group
the
behind them.
support. Right. But I think it's very important for artists to have that, as it's it you're gonna sit there, like you said, you're gonna sit there, the time is just gonna go so slowly, first of all, and then you're not doing any networking, and you're not seeing other people's stuff, and you're not, it's very difficult. You need to get away from that table every now and again, and some conventions do offer that, but not a lot, and the
Yeah.
smaller conventions don't at all. You don't even get somebody coming by and saying, "Hey, do you want a water?" It's difficult. That's why I feel like it's there should be some type of um reprieve somehow. Like
Yeah.
there should be a group that can go out and offer to sit at someone's table for a few minutes so that they can get up and walk away. Somebody that they can trust and know, and or somebody that can help them network with others, or what have you. But so yes, I guess we are important, Doug.
So Darren, that's your homework for the next con you attend. I want you to go through Artist Alley, and when you see artists who are by themselves, just talk to them. Find out more about them. Maybe become friends with them, and maybe you can get in as a helper for artists or something.
Hmm. That's something I've always noticed about a lot of conventions. At least with Animazement, the dealer's room is open from like 9 to 5 roughly during a lot of these conventions, but Artist Alley is open practically all day. Um, is the any idea, or can you shed any light as to why Artist Alley booths tend to stay open longer?
Do you know that? Do you know that reason, Denise? Or
The only thing I can think of is a vendor might have, depending on the state or the city, there might be some kind of 9 to 5 might be a sort of a cutoff for them, time wise, because they have employees maybe that are with them. I don't know. They're more of a business, where Artist Alley, you're independent. So I don't know if that might be what it is. They're handled differently. Um, so you mean vendors, meaning like people who are selling um, licensed stuff and t-shirts and games and that sort of thing?
Yes, because at least where at Animazement and GalaxyCon, they always had the official vendors. Like if they had a brick and mortar store, or
Hmm.
they were selling licensed material products, or just anything in general. If they were some form of company, then they would be on the dealer side, and they would always open a little bit after Artist Alley. I think they would generally open around 9, 10 o'clock ish, and then they would always close by 5. and then the Artist Alley side, there's the convention hall. There's like they open up the big rooms down at the bottom. There's like three grand ballrooms, I guess you could call them, or show floors. The one on the far right is always reserved for the concerts. The one in the middle is always the dealer's room, and the one on the left is always Artist Alley. And then Artist Alley just seems to be the one open all day. It's normally like from when the doors of the convention open until like 7, 8 o'clock in the evening before they finally close.
It could be a courtesy thing too, because a lot of the conventions, um, a lot of the good conventions, they feel like their artists are an important part of the convention. They're there to support the independent artists and help them. Whereas a vendor, they can vend anywhere, anytime. They have a brick and mortar store, like you said. So this isn't the only place that they're selling their goods. So it could either be a courtesy thing where they're saying, okay, so vendors, you're only here 9 to 5, so that way the people have time before to visit with the artists, and then once you close, they've got all that time after to visit with the artist. So it's giving the artists more focus during those hours. So it could either be that, and that's actually a good, I would rather see that at a convention, because then you're getting the focus on the independents, right? Independent artists. Whereas something like Rhode Island Comic Con, where everybody's like helter skelter, and they just kind of run through Artist Alley because they're looking for something in particular, or they want to go see um, the um, the
The
headliner,
celebrities.
yeah, the celebrities. So Artist Alley kind of like falls to the wayside, you know. So if something like Rhode Island Comic Con was to do that and say, the vendors and the celebrities are only during these hours, but we're going to leave the artists here before and after, I really think, yeah. So that's what I said originally. Per hour, they're cutting them down. So I really think, yeah, that they should do that. But yeah, yeah, I agree, Jay, that's what it is. It's because they're businesses, so they have to pay for their people.
I also know that with my experiences vending Anime Boston, where the Artist Alley always stayed open longer, had longer hours than the dealer's hall. They wanted to give, you know, logically thinking, people when you go to conventions are looking for specific merchandise, your
Mm-hmm.
favorite show, your favorite figures, things of that nature. So they know fans are gonna head to the dealer's hall regardless of
Mm-hmm.
what the hours are. To give artists a chance to make the convention worth coming to every year, making their money back, making profit. Because, when you factor in what an artist has to spend between the time to make said prints, the cost of table, the cost of hotel, the cost of travel and food and things of that nature, you might be,
Your pay, my pay. Yeah.
yeah, you're looking like Anime Boston. It might cost you $800 to $1,000 to go to Anime Boston to try to sell your artwork as an artist for 3 days, and you have. When we did it, we had 30 hours to try to break even or make a profit. And I don't think and some cons know and understand this. Like Anime Boston, I feel, they've been around a long time. They understand that the artists are out there trying to make a name for themselves. They are not going to make the big money that a figure dealer or somebody who sells Pokemon cards or games or things like that are going to make. So they want the artists to have to be spotlighted a couple hours before the dealer's hall opens, a few hours after it shuts. That way, the artists get more love from the fans. And I'm sure, Denise, you've seen it at cons where if the dealer's hall and Artist Alley are two separate rooms, some they're merged, some they're separate rooms. As soon as that dealer's hall is closed, there's a big influx of people that come into the Artist Alley. And that's when you start to see sales pick up and people really start to notice you. Or early on, you'll see a lot of people who are window shopping until the dealer's hall opens, but most of the time that you see the foot traffic and the most of the time you see people excited to buy the artwork is after the dealer's hall closed. Because in some cases, people might be looking for that one specific character. They go the entire dealer's hall and can't find it. Then they walk into Artist Alley, and you might happen to have that one random character from a comic or an anime or a video game that they've been looking for, and they never would have thought to go to you if you were open the same hours as a dealer's hall.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's another reason that you see the hours differ between the vendors and the artists, because it gives the artists a chance to bring in the crowds who may not otherwise go through Artist Alley, just because I want to spend my money on figures, books, and this.
Yeah, yeah. And I wish they all did that. But yeah, they don't, unfortunately. But that's another reason why I like Saratoga, because I think there's a good mix. He doesn't fill his hall with a lot of dealers. He fills his halls with a lot of independents, and try and has a good level of celebrity where he's getting the people in, bringing people that will come in to see these particular people, but they're not only there for those people, and that sort of thing.
And he does a good job at spotlighting, artists as well. I know Jay has been a headliner for Saratoga for quite a while. Many of Sam's shows, in fact. Rusty Gilligan was.
Just
I'm
kidding.
sure. I can't even headline there, so I know it has to be you.
Con wife. That's why.
I'll have to have you work on getting me in there next.
You have to work on being Sam's con husband. That's all.
And Jay says it's all Denise.
Yep, it has nothing to do with him whatsoever.
And I got sidetracked there. Be his husband? No, he doesn't want that.
Were you thinking about how to woo Sam Chase?
No, I am very happy that I've recommended people to him in the past, and he has brought them in.
Mm-hmm.
And I did recommend somebody else to him now last time I recommended somebody was Michaela Krantz, and ironically enough, it was Saratoga Comic-Con back when it was Chase Con.
Mm-hmm.
It was her first convention as a guest ever. It was our first convention for me and Leanne vending ever. She had 14 prints. We were stuck over in the corner by this year it was the bouncy house. Back then it was the gaming area. And it was a lot of fun. And of course we've had Sam on the show to promote his conventions in the past. And recently I threw him, actually earlier this week, I sent him another guest suggestion, which, not so much the anime side of things, due to the fact that she is also in the movies and TV and stuff as well. But our guest from last week, Giovanni Cruz, I threw her name out there. I don't know if you know of Suicide Squad, the movie that had come out recently.
Yes.
She's in that. So I threw her name out there. She's been in that, NCIS, and she's got some anime credits as well, which is, of course, where I found her. Being the anime nerd I am. And I have to say, Darren, you've done good this week. You're awake longer than you were last week.
Well, last week was a rough week. Yesterday was my first non-vacation day off in my first non-vacation Saturday off in over a year, so I actually had time to catch up on some sleep before tonight's show. And ahead of normal. Because normally this is the end of my fourth or fifth 12 to 14-hour day.
Crazy.
And I had to pick on you a little bit there, Darren. Usually you get yourself before I do, so I had to be quicker than you. And now, what are some of the fun things what are some of the things you enjoy about being the table helper? Obviously we have a lot of work, we have a lot of responsibilities that most people won't think about. I know, like, when it comes to helping Leanne table, I am 90% of the setup and breakdown.
That's the part I hate the most. That's the part that I cry and I whine about the most. But I do it. Um, I absolutely love, especially if it's a younger child, but when they come over and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I read your book and this is amazing," and I need the next one. Or Saratoga, there was this one guy that came over, and this was a few years ago, but we still talk about it. And he's been there. I think he's come every year since. He's always looking for what's new. It was like my heart literally stopped, like, right. He came over and it's to Jay, and he starts telling him about his own story and his own characters. Like, he's like, "Oh, and then Kara did this and da 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 da, and I love how you made, this person do this and that person said this and da, da." And Jason's just standing there like, and the guy left, and Jason's like, "Oh my gosh, this guy knows more about my story than I do, and my own characters than I do." And like I was like right there, like trying not to cry. Like, it was amazing. A lot of the young girls, a lot, and I have to say, my husband's actually really cute, and I know a lot of the young girls come over, and they flirt with him, and I'm like in the background, and I can see it. Like, they come over and they got like this big smile and this like shiny, like, "Oh, hi," and it's like the cutest thing ever. Then they just stand there and they listen to him and his little spiel, and then they get the book, and they're all like almost starstruck. It's just amazing to see that. It's really amazing to see that, because it's like, "Oh my gosh, that's my husband." I'm so proud of him. And I love that. I absolutely love that. That makes my day when that happens.
There's definitely something about when people recognize you, or and at AAC this year, I had one of the most humbling moments of my life happen. And I know I've talked about it on the show before, but we went into a very small artist alley dealers area at AAC, and they had a couple of the guests in there with a table for signing autographs. Kiba Walker and Cole Schuster or something. I cannot pronounce his last name, and I feel so terrible. I'm sorry, Cole. But two up and coming, very, very talented gentlemen. And on Sunday, I finally went in to introduce myself to them about, possibly having them on the show and things like that, where the networking comes in. It's slowed down. There's not a lot of foot traffic. And I walked up to Kiba. I'm like, "Hi, my name's Doug Engler. Here, I want to give you my card. I do a talk show." And he looks at the card, and he looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you. I've heard so much about you." And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Me?
A voice actor has heard of me? And as it turns out, he's really good friends with Morgan Berry, a very talented Funimation voice actress who we've had on the show multiple times. Amazingly talented voice actress. And I had no idea that they were like really good friends and that she had talked us up. So I think he was more excited to meet me than I was to meet him, which caught me off guard.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. See, that's the kind of stuff that makes it all worthwhile, I mean, I've had the Oompa Loompa. What's his name? The one who plays all the Oompa Loompas there. Buy one of my ornaments. I used to make ornaments too. And I wasn't there when it happened. I had left for something, and it was an ornament that I thought was like the ugliest thing I ever did. I'm like, why do I just gotta throw this thing out, right? It was just a ball with encrusted with all kinds of jewel things. And he was so excited about that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, an Oompa Loompa owns my ornament. It's so funny. Like it's those are the things that make this stuff worthwhile. Those are the experiences that if we never did this, right, we would never know. I would have a regular life just like anybody else, and it's like we say all the time, we have an amazing life. Some of the things that we talk about, people in our outer circle, not our con family circle, outer circle, have no idea the things that we've seen and experienced. And so I'm actually grateful that my husband's pulled me into this. As much as I'm pulled in kicking and screaming at times, I'm grateful that I was pulled into it because of those type of experience like that.
And in many cases, you have, like you said, you have these experiences where you see the people come up who are excited and want to see what Jay's done next.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have conventions like Plattsburgh Comic Con where you're busy setting up, you turn around and there's a stroller with a 2-year-old in it. Like the year that I snuckily put Evie behind you and you're, oh my God, there's a baby.
There's a baby. Oh my God, where'd that come from? Did not come from this. I can tell you that did not come out of this.
And then you took off with her.
But I'll take it. Exactly. But I'll take it. See ya. And that's really funny because that was around the time that we were trying to have a baby, which didn't happen. So I would have happily kept your child. But know that I would have loved her just as you.
Well, if you can make it up here, we got some things if you want to babysit.
Yeah. No, she's getting to that age now. And I believe it was that she probably proved herself that I was like, okay, I'm done. Here you go. Have your child back. I believe that is probably exactly what happened. Oh, it pooed. It's going back.
It's like pets. They're great because you can give them back to somebody else.
Yeah. It's like my grandchildren. Love my grandchildren to death. Love them to death because I can give them back.
And when you're like watching other people's kids, whether it's, daycare, whether it's, babysitting for friends or grandkids or whatnot, it's always fun you're the fun grandparent or aunt or uncle, and you sugar them up and you give them back to the parents hyper and be like, your problem now.
Mm-hmm. And we do it. And trust me, we do it.
And I'm sure your daughter loves you so much for it.
Oh, yes. No, the best is my grandson. So when we get him on Mondays and Saturdays, or I say we, but it's actually my son. But we see him mostly too. And then I drop him off to his mother, and I love to give him back and be like, oh yeah, he just had cookies and chocolate milk and those sort of things that you don't usually give him. So he's all sugared up. Here you go. He's all yours.
You give him sugar, caffeine, you shake him up and hand him off.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
It's really fun when they're an infant because then you watch them shoot off like a bottle rocket when they bark.
Yep.
Darren's over there like afraid. What the hell have I gotten myself into?
I take it Darren has no children.
Nope. Are you still there, Darren?
I think Darren is dead.
I think so. We might have lost him. 9:15. He might have fallen asleep. He has the bad habit of doing the show while lying with Dakimakras. So his anime waifu pillows, full body pillows. And that usually does him in, which is why I sit at the computer, so I can't just sit back and be like, that doesn't make for good content.
No.
But again, that's also why I have the anime figures here, because they're better looking. And we have a question for you from the chat room that says, question for Denise. Was it difficult for you to accumulate yourself into the life of cons? What was the most challenging part for you?
It was. It was. It was a shock. Actually, the culture was a really big shock to me. Um, where I come from, we don't have a lot of conventions and stuff like that here. It's not a lot about superheroes and that sort of thing. So um, we don't have artists. It. My family was not an artistic family. You know, I was just a regular, screwed up, messed up family. You know, and you work and you do and you go to school and you know, and you go home and you watch TV and you do nothing. You know, so first of all, meeting Jason was very interesting. He was a very different person than what I was used to, which is why I fell in love with him. Something that I felt like was always in my soul that my family kind of crushed down from me. And that's also what caused a lot of the anxiety and the social anxiety that I feel I had. So it was really difficult, first of all, to get used to the culture. Not that it was difficult to get used to the culture. I love it. I love the people and I love everything about it. But it wasn't something I was used to. So yes, I had to get used to that. And then I don't like crowds. So of course, then there was that. So luckily, we sit behind a table. I hide a lot of times when I'm not needed. I hide a lot of times. So uh, but yeah, so I just kind of had to work myself into it. And again, I still do it. We've been doing this for 8 years, 9 years, whatever. I still have to work myself up to it. I still get anxious before a convention. I still get nervous and worried and oh my goodness. And then, but again, once you get there, it is a totally different atmosphere. I see all of these wonderful people that I absolutely love and there and care for, and it just makes everything so much better. And it's nice to have that because when I am feeling anxious, there are times where I can go off, maybe find somebody and go off into another place and just um recollect before I go back. So it was difficult. It was difficult in a lot of ways for me to get into it, but now that I'm in it, I'm glad I did.
It's definitely a big step when you're not used to the culture of an anime or a Comic Con.
Hmm.
And anime cons and Comic Cons are two very different animals in and of themselves.
Hmm.
So you might get accustomed to doing a lot of Comic Cons, and then you hit an anime convention and you're like, I wasn't expecting this. The cosplays are different. You see, I mean, an anime fan and a comic fan, they share a love and a passion for a certain genre,
Hmm.
whether it be a certain type of comics or certain type of animes and stuff. But it's still like two different worlds. It's not that common to go to an anime convention and see a ton of comic characters. You'll definitely see a lot of anime characters, some video game characters, stuff like that, but you won't see so much in the way of, you'll see a lot of Harley Quinns because Harley cosplayers are everywhere, or a Batman or a Spider-Man or things like that. But you won't find some of the die-hard comic fans like you will see at Comic Cons.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you probably have a better chance of seeing the family celebrating the Day of the Dead outfits at a Comic Con than you would at, say, Anime Boston or Anime or some of the bigger anime conventions out there.
Yeah, it's a little more specific.
And so it's and both of them offer experiences that are unbelievable. I would recommend to anybody to go to experience at least one type of anime, like go to at least one anime con, one Comic Con, check out a sci-fi specific con, or check out these events, because the people you get to meet And I'm not talking about the guests. The guests are usually the big draw. Oh, I could go to Kineticon, which is a multi-genre convention, and this year they had over 20 anime voice actors, which I think all of them primarily worked for Funimation. So I had a chance to meet Todd Habercorn, who I've interviewed in the past but never met before. Alexis Tipton, who I've never met but idolize her work. Caitlin Glass. I mean, we just this week framed the autograph we got from Caitlin. So it was getting a chance to see that. But yes, the big guests are the what might want you to go to these conventions, but you need to talk with the cosplayers. You need to talk with the vendors, because the cosplayers and vendors are the unsung heroes of these events.
Mm-hmm.
You can go and spend $50 for a 1 to 2 minute interaction with your favorite actor, voice actor, celebrity, whatnot. But you could have a life-changing event by walking up to an artist and asking them about their artwork. And you don't know if that's something that is going to change your life, or maybe you just made their day. You might have given them inspiration about something you talked about that gives them a piece that pushes their artwork to the next level, or their success to the next level. You never know where that inspiration is going to come from. And same thing with cosplayers, because Jay says, cosplaying is not an easy thing. They put a lot of time and effort, whether it's time and effort into making or the time and effort into purchasing them. Because even those who buy their cosplays, they still had to work to make the money to get the cosplay. And then they have to make sure it fits, and then make sure they can get into the persona of said character. So a lot of work goes in there. It's not just dress up. It's not like Halloween where you dress up as, your favorite random characters and walk around, trick or treat. Some of these cosplayers take this stuff seriously. And if you don't believe me, check some of the shows that we've had with cosplayers in the past. Hitaki and Sahara have won numerous awards at conventions for their cosplays. And I don't think you've had a chance to meet them, Denise. They are twin brothers who actually live in New Hampshire, I think, New Hampshire, Vermont area. We met them many years ago at another anime convention when it was in Manchester, and they were cosplaying as the main characters from a game called Star Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in full fursuit gear, head to toe.
Wow.
And they made them themselves. They've won enough awards where they have to compete in Masters Division at any convention they go to.
Wow. So
they are top tier cosplayers, and that's taking things seriously. They have 3D printers for props and stuff like that, which, cut down the road, we'll see Jay 3D printing artwork and stuff.
Well, he's already talked to people about 3D printing stuff for his new game. So 3D printing is coming. In the Jay Mooers world, 3D printing is coming. But it's more like characters. It's more going to be like figures, rather than art. Well, it's still art, but.
And there was a piece of art that Jay had put out recently that I'm trying to find on his page, and because I want to pull a picture up. Because Leanne and I both say that you had to have been the basis of.
It's me.
It is you,
Faye.
Faye, yes.
Yes, it's me. Funny story.
Yes. Here it is. It's like, that's Denise. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay, here's a funny story. My son saw the picture and said, "Oh my gosh, this is," how did he say it? "This is my favorite picture that you've ever made," to my husband. And he said, "Because it reminds me of my girlfriend Nancy." And his girlfriend Mandy says, "You idiot, that's your mother." And Jay's like, "Oh, I think we have some Freudian issues here." And I've always said, this is so funny, I've always said my son, he's so tough with me. He's so tough, but my son is a 100% mama's boy. 100%. I don't care what he says. I don't care. This kid, when before the bus picked him up when he was in middle school, he would sit on my lap in the morning and I would rock him and we would talk when he was going to middle school. So I mean, 100% mama's boy. And his last girlfriend was only a year younger than me. So yeah. But yeah, that was hysterical. That just happened last week. And she's like, "You idiot, that's your mother." And then he was like, "Huh?" Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, Leanne and I both were like, that's definitely Denise. You cannot tell me it's not.
I have very, very low self-esteem. I do not like pictures of myself. I refuse, Jay, to ever make any type of art with me, anything. And he's done a wedding portrait for me, which I absolutely love. And then he said, "I don't care what you say, you're on my game. You're my game. You're gonna be in my game." And I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever, but I actually like that picture. Yeah. This time he said too bad. I mean, I actually like that picture. I don't mind it all too much. So
I think it was a great picture, and the fact that like we know you well enough to be like, yeah, Jay made Denise part of this. he had to. He couldn't leave her out of this.
Yeah.
It was like, is Denise okay? And now, getting back to the convention side of things, we've talked a lot about what it's like to work behind the table, dealing with the people and stuff like that. Do you have actually two questions that come to mind? First question is, when we go and vend at conventions, Leanne and I, during setup, once we're done, we will walk around the artist alley before it opens up to get a feel of what other artists have for two main reasons. One, what do they have that we might want to buy?
Always my reason.
And two, what do they have that we don't, that if somebody tells us they're looking for something specific, we can direct them in that direction?
Absolutely.
Is that stuff that you do as well as a helper?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, we had a game. I don't know if you and Leanne were ever a part of this game. We played it mostly usually at Saratoga. But Jay and I came up with a game of it was like what do you call that? Scavenger hunt. It was a scavenger hunt. So we would put fairies, Jay's fairies in different people's at different people's tables and give kids a card with the different fairies, and they would have to go table to table to table and find, and they would come back and they would say, "Look, I found this fairy, this fairy, this fairy at so," and we knew who had the fairies at their tables. And it was like our way of getting people around to everybody, like to go see you guys and this person and that person. It was our way of spreading the love, basically. Like, especially when we knew somebody was going to be new to a convention, we thought it would be a good idea so that, because they would have to walk up to them and ask them a question about their artwork, and they would get an extra point. If you walked up to, like, say you had one of the fairy pictures at your table, like pinned up somewhere or whatever, and so one of the kids would run up and go, "Oh, I have that on my scavenger hunt list. I have to check that off." They would have the artist sign it, and then the kid actually had all the artist signatures too, and could keep the card with all of the artist signatures, all of the people that they visited that day, and they would bring the card back to us and we would give them a prize. And if they talked to the artists, asked them questions about their artwork, they would get an extra prize. If they bought something, an extra point. If they bought something, they would get an even bigger point, so they could get like an even bigger prize. So we had done this a few times just to kind of, like I said, kind of spread the love. it was well received. Everybody we know, and then they would be like, "Oh my gosh, we had all these kids come to our table," and so it was just kind of a way to do that. But I definitely go and I will definitely say, "Oh, we don't have this, but I did see it at such and such or so and so's table." Um, here, there, or wherever. We never we and again, like you said, I speak for Jason too. Like, we never imagine other artists as a threat. We see everybody as an equal. Everybody is so talented. Every artist has their own interpretation. So, and not everybody buying art has the same eye. They all have their own interpretation. So whereas Jason's style is very fluid and loose and muted, and you've got other people who might be a little more hard lines and very realistic and whatever. So if somebody's looking for something particular and we don't have it, and I know somebody else does that style, I'll send it there.
I'll just have you stare at you for a bit.
Oh, gee, thank you. Yes. Uh-huh. I have
Talking about
to say,
fluid and
yes, very fluid, very loose, very muted. He like everything flows and um has a lot of movement to it and is very soft as far as coloring and that sort of thing. A lot of shading and soft coloring. He doesn't use a lot of hard lines. And sometimes that works to his advantage and sometimes that's his disadvantage, because in the comic book world, a lot of covers and stuff, it's a lot of hard lines. It's not that he can't do it, it's just that's not his style. So if somebody's looking for more something like that, we will send them elsewhere. Anime is not necessarily his thing. So if we know that somebody's looking for a specific anime character, we'll send them to Leanne. Absolutely, we do that. I do like to go around and get a feel for what everybody has at their table, style, character, that sort of thing. And definitely we will send them elsewhere. And of
and
course I like to buy. So
and obviously, when we do this, and the same, you have the same feelings when you are recommending people or sending people to places where they can find what they're looking for. You're not doing it in hopes that they'll come back and buy stuff.
oh
If
no.
they do, if they do, it's a bonus. But we've gained some friendships and we've gained respect from people who have come back to buy from us because we didn't try to upsell. Oh, instead of looking for this, why don't you buy? No. Oh, you're looking for a character from Yu Yu Hakusho, a table about 3 aisles back that way. I think I saw a couple of Yu Yu Hakusho type figures or type characters drawn. Check them out. They have some really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go and they'll be like, "Oh my god!" They'll come back to the table and be like, "I found this. Thank you so much." You
Yeah.
know, and it's like that makes your day just as much when you can make somebody else happy, whether it's through your work or directing them to help them find something. You know, we're, yes, the profit is nice. Yes, trying to break even and make the money is nice. When you're there, you are there to make money, but at the same time, you're there to build clientele, build friends, build people who want to see you again. When you go to conventions and you have those repeat customers, when you
Mm-hmm.
have people come and ask Jay, "What's your latest volume?"
Mm-hmm.
or "What have you done lately? I want to check out the new artwork." That makes you feel good because you've built a connection with that person, not because you were trying to sell something, but because you
Exactly.
genuinely took the time to help them in some way, whether it was find something they were looking for that you didn't have and somebody else did, or whether it's, you took the time to listen to their story because they needed somebody to talk to and they felt comfortable enough to open up to you. And I'm sure and I know you've had that happen. We've had it happen as well. People just come up and start telling you their life story because they need to tell somebody, and you're there. They feel comfortable with you, and at the time it might be like you might feel bad because other people are walking up and you're trying to pay attention to everybody, but just them being able to express themselves and be allowed to do that without ridicule, you've just made a friend and possibly a fan for life.
Absolutely. We have a lot of fans that don't necessarily buy stuff from us or don't buy stuff from us all the time, but they always come to us. They know who we are. They come and see us. They come and talk to us um all the time. There's one lady so sweet that's always at Saratoga, and I kind of missed her this year. It's an older couple, an older gentleman and an older woman, and um I think she has like some form of a dementia or something, and she crochets whatever. She just crochets, and it's never really a thing. She just crochets and then will sew buttons or whatever. And she doesn't, her speech has been, she talked at first. Now she, last couple of times, she doesn't really have speech. The man talks for her. So I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, if she's like dementia or has MS, but I love whenever they come to the table and she's always got to give us like whatever it is that she's made. She's always got a little bag of stuff, and she'll go to the same people every year, and they don't buy anything, but she always has to come and talk to us, and she always has to give us like a little something of whatever it is that she made. And it's like stuff like that that really, again, that sort of stuff, it's not about always about selling. It's the experience too, it's the connections, the experience. So yeah, I love that. I really do.
And so much goes on behind the scenes at these conventions, and being able to talk with people and get to learn about people, that's another bonus of being vendors. Plus, let's be honest, we've all gone to conventions as attendees, and we've all gone to, and you and I have gone as vendors, and
We call that homeless.
yeah,
we're at, we're at the convention. We're homeless at the convention is how we put that.
and that was the point I was going to make. When you have a table, it feels nice to know I can just go back and sit down and rest for however long I want to.
Hide.
And then it's like, okay.
I don't like crowds. So I've been to conventions where we didn't have a table, Rhode Island Comic Con, for instance. And I was so, oh my God, get me out of here. Like, because I have to have a place to hide. I really do.
Well, you know that if you're ever homeless at a convention that you're at, you can always come behind our table.
Yes. We'll seek you out.
And whether it's Casey Fox with Leanne, or because I know she's taking a little bit of a break from vending for a while, but we are going to start pushing AZR. So I'm going to be looking at getting tables for the radio show. Come and sit at the AZR table.
Okay.
I mean, officially, you guys have both been guests on the show now, so it's like we have past guests, Denise and Jay Mooers, with us.
Yep.
And you can sit there and just regroup and just chat. And if you wanted, like if we're doing a live broadcast and you want to talk about, just people watching and what's going on, you can always join in on that too, because half the fun is just watching these people go by.
Oh, yes.
And I'm sure there are times, and we're not making fun of people per se, but there are times when you see somebody in a cosplay and you're like, how did you fit into that? Or why?
It's the same as people watching anywhere. Yes, people watching is people watching.
Jay, and we'd like to apologize for everything we've ever said.
Oh my God. Do we have a disclaimer? We come with a disclaimer. We pass it out to everybody as we're sitting there. Yeah. Yeah. As a person who doesn't have, I commend them. Like, as a person who doesn't have a lot of self-esteem, like I'm like, you go with your bad self. That's all I gotta say. You go with your bad self. because
Oh yeah.
I wish I had self-esteem. I wish I could. I've dressed up. I've dressed up a couple of times, and I was okay with it. But um,
Jay, make her be Harley Quinn for one of the upcoming cons.
no, there's too many Harley Quinns. I would want to be something like really different, something nobody really knows. I think.
Like, if you want to be really different, I have the perfect anime character for you. The question is, would you be brave enough to attempt
Probably
the?
not anime.
Would you be brave?
Probably
Would you be
not.
brave enough to attempt the wig of this character?
Oh my dear Lord. Oh my. I could probably pull that off. Yeah, no. I have to
I,
start going to the gym with your wife.
actually, this I could see you portraying this more.
Yes. Oh yeah, I could do that. Yeah,
A
sure.
cute little fox girl. You know, she's a little snow
Mhm.
fox girl. They're
Cute.
from the same show.
Yep.
You have this one that is a little
That's
like
cute. I like that. See, I love dressing up like that. I love dresses. I love big fancy frilly things. I love doing makeup. I love doing hair.
what about
I
something
just
like this?
um that's a little short.
That's Rihuyu. She she's a lunatic. I
I
mean, we could
think
all.
I think what it is now is it's the grandkids. Like I can't imagine like my granddaughter going, Mimi, what are you wearing? you know?
I should get you to watch the show that those characters are from. I think you would really enjoy it, and and it's an anime you can watch with the grandkids.
Oh, okay. All right. Cause Jason tried getting me into what is it? Oh gosh, I think he's typing something. What Excel saga.
Oh,
Excel
this is nothing like Excel Saga. Oh my god,
Oh,
that I don't
yeah.
know how. For Excel Saga, hats off to the actress who voices Excel. I have never seen somebody talk so fast and not screw up in my life.
Oh boy. You gotta get me drunk.
But the anime that those characters are from, and it's a I call it a franchise because there's Show by Rock the original, which has a bunch of bands. It's a music based anime, but it's not an idol anime. It's not, oh, these are all pop idols or school idols. You have pop music, you have heavy metal, you have rock, you have traditional Japanese satire music in this show. And then after seasons 1 and 2 of Show by Rock, they came out with Show by Rock Mashu Maresh, which is what those girls were from. And again, they're kind of a upbeat, pop, cute group. The characters are absolutely adorable. And in Masha Maresh, they also have heavy metal rock band, death metal. Like you've got a bunch of different types of music in Masha Maresh. In Show by Rock Stars, which is like technically season 4, if you want to put it that way, they combined all the bands together. So you get to see what Show by Rock, the original, I think might have had like 6 or 7 bands that made musical appearances. Then you add 3 more major ones in Masha Maresh with cameos from the original by 1 or 2 of the other bands. And then you put all 10 of those, plus maybe there might be 1 or 2 other ones that come in Show by Rock Stars. And it's mainly and it's all musical based. It shows the power of music and friendship, which is why I said it is really good. Like Winry has really loved the franchise. We had her watch all of Show by Rock the original, and every weekend that she's here, the last 3 weeks she has watched Masha Maresh. She's got 1 episode left. Unfortunately, last night she ran out of time to watch the last one, so next time she's here, she'll get to see the final episode of Masha Maresh. And
I think Chloe would probably enjoy um anime because she likes the aesthetic. She likes those dolls, there's like rainbow high something dolls that look like anime dolls, and the LOL dolls kind of like are on that
those are
idea
creepy.
sort of thing. They are a little creepy, but they're sort of on the idea with the Japanese portrayal of the big eyes, the funky hair, the funky outfit, very
Mm-hmm.
girly, very frilly stuff. Like Chloe absolutely loves that aesthetic. So I know she would love anime, you know.
And Show by Rock, like I said, it's very kid friendly. I mean, they have like the original Show by Rock. There are some dark monsters, but they look scary. But they get defeated by music, so it's not a ton of violence. It's like I'll come out here, I'll play my guitar, and the sound waves have defeated you. It's not, throw fists and that kind of violence.
Oh gosh, but she's girly girl, but she's also not. So
Yeah.
she throws fists, trust me.
And then and then and then like this character here, Kotori, is from an anime called Love Live. And Love Live is a school idol anime which blew up huge. There's now at least 5 or 6 different adaptations of the Love Live franchise. And that is pop idols, basically schools in Japan. And I'm not 100% on the whole culture of it. I don't know, Mario, if you're still in the chat room, if you can help me with this, but Love Live is a school idol competition where pop idols from many different schools in Japan gather to compete to see who's the best school idol group. So it's a lot of upbeat, happy pop type songs with a bunch of cute high school girls. And you might see 3, Love Live, the original, and Love Live Sunshine, I think are 9 girls in each of those groups. And then there was Love Live Sunshine, Love Live Superstar, I think was one that just came out. And I know there's at least 2 more. And Mario says that is correct. So thank you, Mario. Mario, another one of our amazing listeners who has been with us for ages. And, the hearts go out, Mario. He's been on the show. And, before I forget, I want to thank everybody who's tuning in. If you're new here, hit that like button down below and hit the subscribe button. We want to hit 200 subscribers by the end of the year. I know it's asking a lot, so we need you to share this page with all of your friends so that they can enjoy our content and help support us. Once we hit that 200 subscriber mark, we're going to do a giveaway. Much like last week where Rachel Mather was our special guest co-host, one lucky fan of the show will get to sit in as a guest co-host for a future voice actor interview. So you have the chance to possibly talk to one of your favorite anime voice actors. It could be, and you never know who we're going to get. I know coming up, we have a couple of weeks where we're going to have Christy Rothrock joining us, very talented voice actor. We have a voice actor roundtable coming up on December 18th. Next week, we have Kitum Cosplay as our special guest, and they were recommended to us by Christy Rothrock, so we thought it would be fun to have her come and co-host. So she gets to ask questions of one of her favorite cosplayers. So that's going to be fun. We'll switch it around. Instead of asking the voice actor guests, we'll let them ask the questions. You never know what we're going to do here. We're crazy. And, of course, also we have coming up on December 12th, somebody you might know, Tico Flores Kyle, a very talented stuntman. He's worked in movies, martial arts. He's been a regular at Saratoga Comic-Con in years past. He's going to be coming on and joining us. It's been a while since we've talked with Tico. We met him at ChaseCon, actually, that first year and hit it off, and we've been friends with him for years. So it'd be great to have him come back on. And like I mentioned, our last show of the year, December 18th, is going to be a voice actor roundtable. We have got confirmation from Christy Rothrock, still waiting to hear back from a few others, but we're hoping to have at least 2 or 3 voice actors joining us for that. And, just having fun talking about voice acting and stuff that they've done. And, of course, that is our gift to you, our fans who stick by us. Whether you're brand new or you've been with us since the beginning, we love everybody who helps support the channel here on Anime-Zing Radio. Then December 26th and January 2nd, we are taking our traditional 2-week break for the holidays. That'll help us to recharge, rejuvenate, and we have already started working on trying to find guests for January. So if you have ideas for people you'd like to see on the show, some of your favorite cosplayers, artists, comic creators, voice actors, musicians, gamers, whomever, send them our way. Either comment on the video or send us a message on facebook.com/Anime-Zing radio. We love hearing from the fans. We love seeing your suggestions, and we do what we can to try to make sure we bring the people on that you want to see. Once again, we want to thank Denise for coming on tonight and hanging out. It's been too long since we've seen each other. It's been tougher since we've moved farther apart.
I know.
We had to be silly and move to Plattsburgh instead of staying in East Bridgewater.
Jeez, why would you do that?
Well, in all fairness, you moved first.
We did, yes.
You moved away from us first.
But not that far away. Jeez. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but okay.
But I know that once the glomping will commence once we're able to actually get back to cons together, and you are going to attack Evie, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
In a good way.
Evie, what? And your wife? Not
yeah.
Just, yeah.
You're going to push me off to the side, be like, I saw you on the air. Forget you.
Yes, no, and I have to. I can't wait to see her. She's looking amazing. Like
she won't shut up now, and she's becoming her own little person, and it's weird to be like. I remember when you were like this tiny little thing that we would pass off at conventions because everybody was like, "Oh my god, baby, give me." Yep. Now it's gonna be like she talks. I don't want it.
Yes. No. Now I can like run around with her and teach her all kinds of bad things. I can't wait.
She also has an older sister for
that. True.
But she's not bashful though.
No. Well,
I mean, I think she would like the last convention that we went to. AAC was a bit much because she hadn't been to a convention in a few years, even though it was a smaller convention. She still had fun, but she wouldn't sit through panels and things like that, which that will come with time.
Mm-hmm.
Had we been able to continue, had COVID not happened and she continued years of making multiple conventions a year, because pre-COVID. And even Evie's younger years, we were hitting 10 to 15 conventions. Mm-hmm. Probably half of those she was with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I know you guys were planning on raising her the convention baby.
Yeah, she was at. We didn't bring her to Kineticon this year because first con back. Graciously, my parents, we met them in Binghamton, New York. They drove up from Pennsylvania, my mom and sister, and they watched her for the weekend for us. So we could go back to the convention, focus on the press side of things. Leanne was in the masquerade, and it was nice to get back to the conventions and not have to worry about Evie. AAC, a smaller convention. Evie was with us, and we became a meme because of our outfits. Which I don't know if you saw those or not when we were the little Minecraft horseman riders.
I don't think so. Oh my goodness.
And the little one right there is Evie, because she had her own. And those are me, Leanne, and our friend Jeremy are all on adult hippity hops.
I love those things.
And we had to paint them. And paint the Minecraft heads and everything. We were the Skeletal Riders. And somebody made a meme of the AAC 2021 starter pack. And they took those Minecraft riders, shrunk one of them down for Evie. And it was like, we made a meme. And we had attendees and volunteers like chasing us down to get photos. It's like, I felt like the biggest idiot. But all that hard work and stuff, and just the appreciation people got, made it so worth it. But God, I could not walk right for like a week after. You don't realize how out of shape you are until you spend 15 minutes bouncing on one of those hippity hops.
Yep.
Especially
Jason does it all the time, and not even an adult one. A little regular kids one. We had a reindeer, we have a 2-headed dragon, and we have a unicorn. No, a horse. She has the unicorn at home. So we just gave the reindeer away to somebody, but we started collecting them, and then I told Jason we need to get our own. We need to get a fleet of adult hippity hops this year. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And in a way, I was waiting for Jason just to bounce behind you on one of those.
Oh God, no! Jason's half asleep over here. It's past his bedtime. He's like, and he's not feeling well, so that's not helping.
But we want to thank you, Denise, for coming on and joining us. It has been a pleasure to have you on the show as our esteemed guest of honor, and get to chat with you. And man, it's been too long.
I know. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
And I know you were nervous at first, but I hope that you enjoyed yourself. And like I said, we try to keep it fun and laid back.
Well, like anything else, like the cons, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? What am I going to, like, it's like anything else, but then you get there and everything is okay. So
exactly. And of course, a big thank you to our fans out there, everybody in the chat room who came in tonight to support the show, to ask questions of us. Thank you, Rachel, for the question for Denise earlier. That was great question. Rachel was actually our guest of honor. She got to sit in the special guest co-host seat last week with Giovanni. So great to see you in the chat room. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. Like I said, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We want to hit 200 subscribers before the end of the year, but we can't do it without your help. Share our links, share our shows, tell people that they need to support us if you really enjoy the content. We want to keep doing this. We've been doing it for almost 8 years now, over 7.5 years. We want to keep doing it for many more years to come. We have big plans for the future, but we can't do it without the support of you guys. So definitely big thank you for everybody who tuned in tonight. Thank you to everybody who tunes in even after the shows are live. If you're watching this post-recording and everything, thank you for taking time out of your day to check us out, whether it's for the full 2 hours, whether it's 5-10 minutes here or there. Really, it means a lot to us. Check out some of our past shows, including some of our old gaming shows. We have it didn't get a lot of views yet, but we did have a Smash, Trash, or Cuddle that we put up a couple weeks ago, which is really funny. I think you'd get a kick out of it, Denise. The end came up with 35 anime characters, and Darren, myself, Mario in the chat room, and our friend Angela came on, and we decided whether we would smash, trash, or cuddle these anime characters.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to tell you, I would definitely cuddle Leanne. She wouldn't get smashed or trashed. Well, she might get smashed and trashed, and then we'd cuddle.
That's referring to alcohol.
Is that why you moved away? That's why you moved away, isn't it?
And Dean in the chat room is laughing because he knows it's true.
Dean, I miss you.
So until next week, because we're just about out of time, until next week when we welcome Kittim Cosplay and Christy Rothrock on the show. Thank you to everybody, as I said, who tuned in tonight. Really means a lot to us. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Stay safe out there. Keep enjoying the animes. Keep supporting your local Comic-Cons and support the artists who work their tails off to make it to these conventions. And until next week, we'll see. Hope everybody, like I said, has a great week. This has been Anime-Zing Radio right here on YouTube.